Well, that was pretty cool, hey? Alright. So I wanted to show you one thing. I did this stuff before, so it makes it easier to follow. Um, so let's go with the premise that you need some springs for your vehicle, like a race car, whatever it is. But let's assume, nobody really makes what you need, and you would prefer to get something different, maybe closer to what you actually need for the car, not just like a little bit stiffer, a little bit race car feel like, but more like race car. So let's go with this. I have a 1996 Nissan Maxima, and here I am at rockauto.com, and basically that's a starting point for a lot of my searches because I have a lot of information, a lot of availability for stuff. So let's go Nissan 1996, and it's Maxima is what I got, and we need springs, so suspension and coil springs. So if you like it, you're gonna have some stuff listed. So here we go. We have rear and front. So let's go with, I did this already, so let's just go with the fronts or rears. You decide. Let's go with the rear. Alright, so here's the rear list of springs you would use on your car if you were to buy a replacement. Makes sense, right? Now, this is a listing of the cars that it comes with, so you can see if it loads. It comes in a Maxima 95 through 99. That's cool beans. If you click on the info, and we want to open all of them. Now, if you click on the info, you get this, and this is what we need. Basically, have all the information of the spring that we need. That's the standard spring that comes in the car. So two things we need well, many things we need. So let's go through them all. So this is MOOC, so it has nice listing. This is whatever, doesn't have a listing, doesn't have a listing, doesn't have a listing. This has info. And it's a good idea to compare to make sure that they're kind of the same, because sometimes I do put in wrong info. So we have it's a premium, whatever it is, great premium. So the load on the rear on the spring is 669 pounds. Cool. The wire diameter is 0.52 inch. Awesome. The inside diameter of the spring is 3.5, and spring relax length is 12.1. Okay, and the spring rate is variable, so it's not a constant spring. Right, so we have this. Let's go check with this. It says 0.51, which is very close. Free length 11.73. This side 12.1. Close. Front spring compresses 9 inches. So when the spring is in the car, it's about 9 inches. Relaxes 11.7.3. We saw that before. Diameter 3.45. We saw that before. Load 588. So between these two cars is probably a different stuff that came with it. So let's double check. So as I say, Delco, Gold variable rate, rear, Moog. So it doesn't really say anything, but the info is here. Alright. So once we are armed with this info, what I made is this little Excel. So here you go. This is where the info comes from in. So we know the compression is 9 and the free length is 11.73, so the stroke is 2.73. Okay, that's like it's calculation in this case. Rate is 215. Was it stating here somewhere? Yep, spring rate per inch 215. Awesome. So if you take the spring rate times the stroke, you get the load 586.95, just 587. Where's the load here? 588. So we're very close. That's good. ID is 3.5, 0.51 is the wire, and outside is 4.52. So we have this. This is our input dimension. This is our cross-check number. And the next thing we need to figure out is how much do we want to drop the car, because you can make it stiffer, but you kind of want to drop the car sometimes for whatever purposes. So I'm making the spring half an inch smaller. So whatever that translates to the wheel, we'll see. The stroke is 2.73, and that's the original stroke. Okay, and the rate multiplier, this is where it gets tricky. I'm just gonna go with double the original spring rate. Okay, so 215 times 2 is 430. That's the new rate that the spring needs to be. Cool. The new compressed length is going to be 8.5 inches, and new free length is important. Is going to be 9.865 inches. It doesn't have to be that big, so 9.87. There you go. Okay, so now we have the two important information: the free length 9.87 and new rate is 430. This spreadsheet is basically pulled from Moog because they have listing of the springs, and there's 799 minus 5, so there's a lot of them. Okay, so part number, the ends, which is I didn't go over, but that's the end of the spring. That's the free length of the spring. This is install height, inside diameter, bar diameter, rate, and load that's made for, and outside diameter, which we need. And this is where the magic comes in, the rate calculation. The rate calculation is recalculating this spring, let's say this is CC814, into the free length of this distance. What would be the spring rate in that? So if I take this spring, which is 17.5 inches long, okay, and I cut it down almost in half, you can see that my rate is almost double, and that's how it all comes together. What this does is it recalculates this existing spring into a spring of shorter length that you want, that you can use. So now what we need to do is find something that will work for the application. It's never 100%, but at least this is something. So the inside diameter. Inside diameter is 3.5 inches. So just select all. It's already sorted by lowest to biggest, and you can just, so there's a range. See, so from like 3 3/8, we just select pretty much all of them to 3 3/4. Oh, okay, there you go. That's, yeah, whatever. And just select them, because that's the spring within the diameter that will fit in the stock location. The closer you get to the stock diameter, the better, obviously. There. So now we have the springs that have the inside diameter close to the original. So it's from 3 3/8 to 3 3/4. The stock is 3 1/2. So we can make it work. The next thing is what we need to do is select the calculations. So we need the spring that is 430 inch-pound. That's what it is. And you can see there's a big selection. Now this is for the rear, so I can actually go up higher. So 388 is kind of low, but we'll just go there. I'll just go all the way to roughly there you go. Boom. So there you go. Now we are listed from this. well, we just filtered. But anyways, so now we have the springs that we can use. There you go. And we now can fine tune it to be closer to what we need. For example, I can just go back here and say, let's go from this to here. Smaller list. And let's go back to the Rockauto website, which is here. And we need to note these two things, the squared and pigtail, the ends. Because you're cutting, you're going to have one side that's cut, and the other side is what you're going to need. So, the pigtail is the hardest piece to make. Tangential is the easiest, and squared ends is the medium difficulty, I guess. Definitely the pigtails is what you, if you have, you need to use. So let's go with that. So here we go, Moog squared pigtail. This is the spring for me, because I'm not going to be able to make the pigtail, but if it comes with a pigtail, I can cut the other side. So let's go back to this. So the one end pigtail I'm going to maintain, so I'm not going to change it. The squared end, which is this side, I'm going to have to make, but it's not that hard, so I'm not worried about it. You can use heat, you can use the grinder, or just grind it flat. There's many options. You can also just kind of leave it alone, but in this case, probably not. Okay, so the next step is that we found the spring that we want. Now let's try and figure out where we can get it. So I already did my research, which is just trying to find it in the first place. So CC836. If you go back to the Moog website and do CC836, it comes with some listing. So their main website, if you go there, it has a spring. You can buy it from them if you like. Here's a good explanation of square end, tangential, and pigtail. And here, this is what we need, the fitment. So you can see here, for Bronco 2.2, Ranger came with the spring. So I think Ranger is more common than Bronco 2, so let's go to 1984 Ranger 2.3. That's a lot of cars. Ford 1984 Ranger 2.3, and suspension and coil spring. There you go. Obviously Rockauto does not have them for sale, the Moog one, but they have something that has the same numbers in the description, 836. There you go. It's a V variable rate, that's what it is. And there you go. This is a spring that will work in the Nissan Maxima in the back. And you know, I'll check later when I actually get the part. But I don't know which part is pigtail, but I guess this side is pigtail. It's kind of hard to see from the picture. Still, I can make it if it need to be. Because if you look at this spring, the pigtail is not that big, kind of small. Or this side, you can see that the pigtail is not that tight. This is square, so that's whatever. This side is square in the back, pigtail in the front. So once I get the spring, I'll be able to compare before I chop it. And there you go. I just found a spring that will fit in the Nissan Maxima in the rear. There is the front spring from Ford Ranger from 1984 that I'm gonna have to cut to fit, but it's gonna get me to the range that I need. Let's go back to Excel. And this can be done in multiple ways. Let's say, well, let's reset this guy. And let's go with sort smallest to largest. And for example, I don't want the double rate, which is 430. Maybe I just want a little bit stiffer. Maybe 372 will work. So there you go. Moog 81009 is, well, tangential, but oh, this one's CC257 to 234. That'll work. So you have options. And no, if you want to go crazy, here's 713. Which is way too high for what I'm doing. So 430 is going to be just right, I think. Yeah, there you go. That's how it's done. And I guess thank you for watching.